You may recall that back in October, we posted a video about Jericho Guitars and how they had basically come out with a design that was the spitting image of the Gibson Explorer right down to the headstock. Well, there were some developments recently. Specifically, it appears that Jericho Guitars' website went down for several days. Now, this appears to have caused a little bit of worry among customers who were unable to reach Jericho during that time. Now, there was a lot of speculation what's going on here. I did a little digging. There were a lot of little issues going on. But as it turns out, according to Jericho Guitars, they were sent, actually, they weren't sent anything. It appears that Gibson did some kind of takedown on Jericho's website. Basically, I would imagine they had alleged some kind of copyright violation, specifically stemming out of the Explorer. And as a result, it took a few days. Jericho Guitars, their website is back up. However, one of the things that isn't back up is the guitar that caused the disturbance. It was taken down. Dave Musselman, who is the owner of Jericho Guitars, did put a post on his Facebook page saying that it did seem to arise out of that guitar design, but he didn't get into any specifics there. Additionally, it appears that there have been a little bit of some backlash against Gibson because, once again, it's Gibson doing what Gibson does, which is take action against guitar builders. We really don't have a position as to whether Gibson's in the right or in the wrong, or if Jericho's right or wrong. Our position, in case you're wondering, was that what Jericho's design was probably wasn't a good idea because it was pretty blatantly infringing on Gibson's design, and Gibson was fresh off of a win against Dean Guitars. So they were basically waving a red cape right in front of Gibson, the angry litigious bull that it is. I don't think it was a good idea. I understand that Jericho has its own designs, and quite frankly, I did a little digging in a limit. It looks like, number one, they not only source their own timber from them, they mill it themselves too, which, frankly, that I'm impressed with. That makes me want to buy their guitar. It's like, dude, you cut down a tree from your own land and milled it yourself. You know, that actually interests me more than any Gibson copy ever could. They do say that they are starting to ship orders again. Their website lists guitars as being in stock, so that's good. But I think that we should all take a lesson from Jim Croce in the song You Don't Mess Around with Jim. And that lesson is you don't tug on Superman's cape. That is what Jericho seemed to have done, and it did not end well for them. Once again, we're glad Jericho's back up and running. Do look forward to seeing some designs from them, but my advice would be steer clear of Gibson designs. Additionally, while all this is going on, another guitar company, Edwards Guitars, they chimed in, if only to say that they are no longer using the open book headstock, which I didn't know they were doing. They were using an open book headstock on a single cut design, and on top of that, that open book on some of their designs had a split diamond, which is not a legally advisable thing to do. The open book headstock is Gibson's. The split diamond, that is Gibson's. Single cut, that's arguable. But when you put them all together, when you take a single cut guitar, you paint it ebony black, you put an ebony fretboard on it, you have an open book headstock, and a split diamond, well, you've got yourself a Les Paul Custom. That is pretty clearly infringing on Gibson's trade dress. It would not be a really good lawsuit for Edwards, and I'm glad that they said, you know what, we don't want to pick fights with Gibson here. I think you can learn that discretion's the better part of valor. Maybe morally they're right, but morally right doesn't pay the bills. Morally right doesn't always sell guitars. So don't pick fights with Gibson. It's just not a good plan. We'll keep you posted on this, and we've got more content coming in the new year. If you want to stay up to date with all the guitar legal news that there is, click like and subscribe and ring the bell. Less fiddling and more playing.